Thank you both so much for speaking with me. I really appreciate it.
Hey, Carl, thanks
Thank
for having
you.
us.
Of course, first of all, congratulations on the Institute. I really love it. It's such a great
Thank you.
series. Tell me, for both of you, Stephen King is such a legendary talent, What is it like doing a version of one of his books? Ben, how about for you?
I mean, I've always been such a huge Stephen King fan. He's probably the most successfully adapted writer, maybe of all time. I don't know. I mean, I've loved so many of his movies, from Shawshank to The Green Mile to Stand by Me to The Running Man. I'm not a massive horror guy, which is interesting. When you think about Stephen King, you associate him with that, but actually, he writes in all these different genres, and he writes about hope and humanity and toppling systems of oppression and banding together and friendship and love. And he writes about all the most important things, and all of those things I think are very neatly contained in this Institute story. Um, Really, two stories, Tim's story and Luke's story, that then kind of combine into one story as we go. And it's got a really slow burn, kind of simmering, horrifying tension to it as well. So it really, really cool to be able to
Yeah.
say that you play a character in the Stephen King cinematic universe.
Yeah. How about for you, Joe?
Yeah, I mean it's you forget how much he has done.
So
The amount of
prolific.
classics that are out there and then you find out that it's Stephen King and you're like, well, of course it is. Like he's just yeah, to be a part of that is amazing. And also for my personal um family, my granddad, he could not believe it. Like he is the biggest Stephen King fan I know. He's got every book. Um And yeah, it was special to be able to tell my family that oh, I've got this cool job, and they're
And to
like,
be so brilliant in it as well.
thank you.
And running with that, Joe, did you feel some kind of responsibility, first of all, or pressure to do something from Stephen King? And then with you, your grandfather, I believe you said,
Yeah,
like then you have that on top of it. Did you feel
yeah,
like extra pressure with that?
yeah. I mean, I with my granddad, he's one of those people that's just like, oh, I love it no matter what it is. Like, if it's the worst thing in the world, it's just still great. Um, but Stephen King, you've got to be more on it.
Yeah, more judicious, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't think I have the same relationship with him as I do with my granddad.
If you spent more time with him.
Possibly. But he's like, you want to try and we talked about this, is you don't want to distance it too much from what Stephen King originally wrote for the characters because you want to be able to bring his book to life in the way that he imagined it as much as possible, while
Mm.
also incorporating your own stuff into the role.
And for you, Ben, you've done all kinds of work. Do you feel, when you're doing an adaptation of a Stephen King project, do you feel pressure or anything, or are you able to kind of like chill and
I think there is a bit more pressure when there's a novel because people have preconceived ideas when they've read a story about, they've imagined the character, they've pictured them walking around, they've pictured them doing these, um, having these sort of dynamic adventures, saying the things that you say. So I think when it's just a script, you're the author of that character. Whereas there's always a bit more pressure when there's expectation on it, I think. But because it's a more recent book, I don't know if every Stephen King fan has found their way to this story, and I think we've got a really compelling version of it, and the characters are truthful enough to the story, but a little bit different enough for the people who've watched the story to feel that there's still some suspense in it. Um, but yeah, I've been very lucky to work on different adaptations. I could never ask like Oscar Wilde what he thought of My Dorian Gray, but Stephen King coming on board as a as a producer on this show after he watched some certainly felt like a really
Yeah, that felt like a
valuable
win. Yeah.
stamp of approval for us. Yeah.
Yeah. And going with that, Ben, it is, and he tends to write emotionally heavy characters that, not just sometimes the situations that are in that are scary, but the emotional things that they're facing are
Yeah.
scary as well. Is that one of the things that attracted you to the project?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always keen to get involved with projects that I feel like have um, subtext to them, which can connect with the world that we're living in. The kind of chaos of the world, the the nastiness of it, the heaviness of it, even the best of men living with, questioning their conscience. But people always say, like, if you wouldn't, oh, I'm wrestling with this. I wondered if I did the right thing. And the fact that you're wrestling with something shows what a good person that you are in the first place, that you're not one of the psychopaths. And I think it connects with those kind of themes, but it also connects with um, what Stephen King writes about a lot, which is the vulnerable kind of banding together and using their collective powers to kind of topple systems that seem to be working unregulated, unchecked, to kind of retain their power and to, just to kind of behave however they want to behave. And so I think he is a very thoughtful person about the world that we live in, and he engages with that through his storytelling.
Mhm. And Joe, what is the thing that you have found doing the series, that something that you could take from either your character or one of the other characters? Is there anything that you have kind of taken personally home with you?
Um, well, I mean, from the get-go, it was like I wanted to try and incorporate some of who I am into Luke anyway, just to make it, because why would you want to make it more difficult for yourself? And
Also, it's the most honest.
yeah, yeah. Um, so I suppose not. I haven't taken anything from Luke per se, but sort of given Luke, and I suppose take it anywhere. Like you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
yeah,
You've contributed some of Joe to into Luke,
yeah. I
yeah.
like to think so. Yeah.
How about for you, Ben? I'm interested in that for you as well. As you do every project that you do, is there something that you take from it, or are you more like Joe, or you want to give part of Ben and then move on to the next one?
Yeah, I think you look for the qualities, certainly for this character, having played a bunch of baddies in a row, to have a character who's gripping so firmly to their moral compass, and playing a character for whom it's important to be a good man in the world, to be a man full of decency, to be someone who's fueled by protection and love rather than by ambition,
Mm.
which I've played a few of those in a row. It's always nice to kind of feel like you admire the characters that you're playing, and you're looking to represent something in even in a fictional world, because I think this stuff translates. It's important, the stories that we tell, and it's important, the messages we put out there.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you both so much. I can't
Thank you.
wait for everybody to see the Institute. They're going to enjoy it as much as I did. I know it.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much, mate.
Thank
Cheers.
you guys. Have a great
Appreciate it.
day.